sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
33 lives lost across 6 states. That's the reality we're facing after this just devastating severe weather outbreak that ripped through the U.S. We're talking tornadoes, wildfires, dust storms. It's like a real trifecta of crazy weather. And today we're going to do a deep dive into an AccuWeather article that breaks down what happened and try to understand just what happened.
Yeah, it's a truly complex system. And I think what's so striking is how these different threats, each one is capable of causing so much damage on its own, but they all combined, to create such widespread destruction.
Yeah, and beyond the numbers, right? It's important to remember that these are real people. These are real stories of loss and devastation. I think hearing some of those accounts will really help us understand the impact beyond the statistics.
Absolutely. It's one thing to just grasp the scale of it, but it's another to really connect with the human experience, to understand what it was like for those who actually lived through it.
Right. So let's start by unpacking this timeline. The AccuWeather article laid it out pretty clearly. It all began Friday afternoon with those extreme winds in Texas and Oklahoma. Imagine these powerful gusts sweeping across the plains, kicking up massive dust storms, and then fueling these wildfires that tragically claimed 3 lives right off the bat.
And that was just the beginning. As the day turned to night, the situation took an even more terrifying turn. That's when the tornadoes began to form.
Yeah, Friday night into Saturday, these tornadoes tore through Missouri and Arkansas, leaving just a trail of catastrophic damage in their wake. And, it's one thing to face a tornado during the day, but at night, you lose that visual warning that you might have during daylight hours.
Exactly. Think about it, right? Most people are asleep. And without that visual cue, it becomes so much harder to get those warnings out and for people to react in time to seek shelter. That lack of visibility combined with people being less aware during the night, likely contributed to that high casualty count we saw, especially from those nocturnal tornadoes.
Yeah, it's a chilling thought and a stark reminder of just how vulnerable we can be to these forces of nature, especially when they strike under the cover of darkness. The article really emphasizes the sheer terror of those hours.
And the onslaught continued. By Saturday, a new wave of tornadoes was hitting the Tennessee Valley and the Gulf Coast states. And Mississippi really seemed to bear the brunt of it. The article even mentions the storm chasers who were out there, capturing the raw power of these twisters as they touched down.
Can you imagine being a storm chaser?
Yeah.
You're right in the thick of it, witnessing firsthand the destructive force of nature. It must be an incredible and incredibly terrifying experience.
It certainly is. And while these storm chasers often provide, valuable data, their accounts also give us a sense of that fear and chaos that people on the ground must have felt.
For sure. And the article highlights some of those firsthand accounts, and they're truly heartbreaking. One resident in Elliott, Mississippi, described the approaching tornado as sounding like a freight train. Can you imagine that sound? Bearing down on you. It sends shivers down my spine just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a sound that is etched into the memories of so many tornado survivors. That roar, that sense of immense power approaching, it's terrifying.
And then there's the aftermath. Another resident, this one from Cave City, looking at the destruction around him, said it looked like a bomb went off. Just total devastation.
Yeah, and these descriptions, while simple, really capture the magnitude of the force we're talking about here. To compare a tornado to a freight train or a bomb, it speaks volumes about the scale of the destruction.
For sure. And then you have stories like Dakota Henderson's in Wayne County, Missouri. He was frantically searching for his aunt after the storm, only to find bodies in the debris. It's a stark reminder of the human cost of these events, the individual tragedies that often get lost in those larger statistics.
Yeah. It's a powerful reminder that behind those numbers are real people, real families grappling with unimaginable loss. And it's important to acknowledge that beyond those immediate fatalities, there's this whole ripple effect of trauma and loss, the search and rescue efforts, the rebuilding process, the emotional scars. It's a long and difficult road to recovery for so many.
It really is. And that's where those smaller details from the AccuWeather article really hit home for me. It mentions that a magnitude 3.0 earthquake struck central Mississippi at the same time a tornado was hitting Taylorsville. Can you even imagine experiencing both of those events simultaneously?
It's almost unfathomable, right? You're dealing with this devastating tornado and then the ground starts shaking beneath you. It just underscores the chaotic and unpredictable nature of these events.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yet even amidst all this destruction, there are these glimmers of hope, stories of resilience. The article talks about the Calera Baptist Church in Alabama. Their sanctuary was severely damaged, the roof was torn off, but thankfully, no one was hurt. And they're already focusing on rebuilding, drawing strength from the fact that their community is safe.
Yeah, and that sense of community really shines through in these situations, doesn't it? People coming together to support each other, to offer aid, to rebuild what was lost. It's a testament to the human spirit, that ability to find hope and strength, even in the darkest of times.
It's incredibly inspiring. The article also includes some powerful imagery: destroyed homes, rescuers with flashlights, searching through the debris, landscapes just littered with wreckage. These images really bring home the visceral reality of what these communities are facing.
Yeah. Images like that can stay with you long after you've read the article. They're such a stark reminder of the destructive power of these storms, but they also highlight the incredible courage of those first responders and the resilience of those who are, picking up the pieces of their lives.
It's powerful stuff. The article goes on to say that storm surveys are still underway, and that these surveys are crucial for assessing the full extent of the damage and determining the strength of the tornadoes. Can you explain a little bit about what these storm surveys involve and why they're so important?
Sure. So these surveys are conducted by teams of meteorologists and engineers who go out into the field after a storm has passed. They analyze the damage patterns, the debris, the path of the storm, and they gather all sorts of data. This information helps them to determine the wind speeds of the tornado, which is how they classify its intensity on the enhanced Fujita scale, or the EDAF scale.
Got it. So it's not just about documenting the destruction. It's about gathering scientific data that can help us understand these events better.
Exactly. And this data is so valuable for a number of reasons. First, it helps us to improve our understanding of tornado formation and behavior. Second, it helps us to refine our forecasting and warning systems, potentially giving people more time to seek shelter in the future. And third, it helps communities to better prepare for these events, by informing building codes and emergency response plans.
That's fascinating. So these storm surveys aren't just about looking back at what happened, but also about learning from it and applying those lessons to the future.
Precisely. And that brings us to a crucial point the article emphasizes. The system that spawned these tornadoes is still moving eastward, meaning the threat of severe weather isn't over yet for many communities.
It's a reminder that we need to stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay prepared, especially as we're seeing, these kinds of extreme weather events happening more and more frequently.
That's a great point. And it's a perception that many people share. And thankfully, it's not just a feeling. The data actually supports that observation. We are seeing an increase in both the intensity and the frequency of these severe weather events globally.
Wow. So it's not just our imagination. These storms are actually getting worse. Why is that happening? Is it climate change?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not enough to just understand the problem. We need to find solutions. And those solutions need to happen on multiple levels: individual, community, and global.
So what can we do as individuals? I mean, it can feel pretty overwhelming when you're talking about something as big as climate change,
Yeah, it's true that, individual actions might seem small in the face of such a large-scale issue, but they absolutely make a difference. Think about reducing your carbon footprint, supporting sustainable businesses, advocating for policies that address climate change, Every little bit helps.
What about on a community level? What can we do to make our communities more resilient to these kinds of extreme weather events?
Well, there's a lot we can do. Strengthening infrastructure is key. This could involve things like building more resilient power grids, improving drainage systems to handle increased rainfall, and updating building codes to withstand stronger winds. We also need to invest in better early warning systems and make sure everyone in the community knows how to respond when a warning is issued.
It sounds like preparedness is key here, both on an individual and a community level.
Absolutely. Being prepared can literally be the difference between life and death when it comes to severe weather. Having a plan, knowing your evacuation route, having an emergency kit ready, these are all crucial steps you can take to protect yourself and your family.
And the AccuWeather article we've been discussing really emphasizes that point. It urges everyone to stay informed, have a plan, and be ready to act when severe weather threatens. They also highlight the importance of reliable sources of information like AccuWeather itself, so you can stay up to date on the latest forecasts and warnings.
And beyond preparedness, it's about building a culture of resilience, It's about communities coming together to support each other before, during, and after these events. It's about having strong social networks, effective communication channels, and a shared sense of responsibility for each other's well-being.
This deep dive started with a specific event, a tragic one, but it's really opened up a much larger conversation.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together and that we need to take action to create a safer, more sustainable future.
It's about shifting from a mindset of reaction to one of proaction. Instead of simply responding to disasters after they happen, we need to be actively working to mitigate the risks and build resilience in the face of a changing climate.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? I think it's a call to action. Stay informed, have a plan, but also think bigger. What can you do in your own life, in your own community, to make a difference? How can you be a part of the solution?
And remember, amidst all the challenges, there's also hope. We see it in the stories of those who survived, those who helped each other, those who are already rebuilding. The human spirit is incredibly resilient. We have the capacity for innovation, for collaboration, for compassion. If we harness those qualities, I believe we can rise to this challenge and create a better future for ourselves and generations to come.
That's a powerful message to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Stay safe out there and stay engaged.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.